Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Multipliers Club with myself, Joe Todd, and my three good friends, Sam, Jake and Luke. I'm going to be bringing you a weekly podcast around entrepreneurship, giving an authentic outlook, all the ups and the downs, and bringing you on the journey with us of success. We're going to have many guests on the podcast, so we're going to go through and just give a little introduction to each one of us and what we do and why we've started the podcast. So Sam, I'll start with you.
Yes. Firstly, honoured to be on a podcast. We've been talking about this for a long time. It's good to finally get it in action. So my name's Sam Warrington. I co-own, should I say, a marketing agency. My role within the company is sales director. And on the side with two of my good friends, Luke and Jake, we run a rent-to-rent business, serviced accommodation in mostly the Brighton and Hove area. Over to you, Luke.
Okay, so my name's Luke Harvey and co-founder of Harvey Warrington Media alongside my good friend Sam. And also, like Sam said, Walters Harvey Warrington Property, which is our Airbnb / rent-to-rent business. Yes, over to Jake.
Yes, I run that as well. I'm only here because Joe dragged me here. And my name's Jake Walters, otherwise known as Frank.
Gonna have to tell them, Jake.
Yeah, I know. It's time to come out with the real name now, man.
So, on my birth certificate, my passport, it says Jake. But Frank, when I started at a company that I still partner with now, Dial a Flight, there was somebody by the same name when I first started. And the business model is that everybody in the business must have a different name. And that was just planted on me and it's kind of stuck. It's 50-50. A lot of people know me as Frank and a lot of people know me as Jake. So for the purpose of the podcast, I'm going to go from what my mum calls me, Jake. That's
nice,
it.
Mate. It's good to have you, Jake.
So I run a franchise travel consultancy, part of Dial a Flight Lotus Group, so Dial a Flight Concierge. And also, like the other two guys have just said, WHW Property, which is a rent-to-rent business.
Back over to me. So I run a building, design and build company currently. Started 3 or 4 years ago. Before that, I had a personal shopping business, which I had for a few years, selling high-end fashion and watches. And now I've just diverted all my attention until the podcast on the building company. So we do residential stuff, full house refurbishments, extensions, loft conversions, etc. Offer the interior design service. In Surrey and around the south of London. So the reason I wanted to start the podcast personally was just for personal growth. And I think we all agree in the year 2023 that if you're not putting out good content, then you're a bit of an idiot within business. And we've all said for a long time that everyone we study, everyone we kind of look up to and we watch they're putting their face behind the brand. So we're watching them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook sometimes, or YouTube. And the reason we know of them, we know of their success, and we try to learn from them is because we're watching that person directly. So none of us have really put our faces behind our brands. I know.
Too scared.
Yeah, and I know, Sam, you out of all of us, you have a bit. We've all just been too scared, / a bit maybe too lazy. I think us four coming together and starting a podcast, it's just, it's good. We love talking business and investments anyway. And it's just creating so much content for us to start really giving us the confidence to go out there and start pushing for all our personal brands, as well as then bringing this company together, the Multipliers Club. Just get to meet some great guests. We get to bring people on the journey. As we mentioned earlier, an authentic outlook. So it's not just about all the ups, because it's not really like that at all when you're running a business day in, day out. There's a lot of downs, a lot of problems to overcome. So just want to be bringing people on that journey and connect with like-minded people across the country. And in the future, hopefully do some in-person events and stuff like that and get to meet people. So really excited to get started.
I think it's important that I think we all want to say it. Obviously, we're not trying to do the podcast to kind of say we've made it or because we haven't in our head. So we just want to kind of articulate struggles and the things that we go through on a daily basis. We all talk it amongst ourselves, and even but outside of us four, there is other people that I talk to about this kind of stuff. So it's one of those things that you do find relatable. And I remember you saying before, when people they know that's your thing. So but they talk to you about it. So people find it entertaining. Yeah. So people find it entertaining. And yeah, it's just growing our own personal brands, I suppose, as well. Being out of our comfort zone. Like I don't use social media at all. Haven't posted on my personal Instagram in the last 2 years. But I know, like you said, Joe, 2023, like, yeah, you need to have your face behind your brand. And also, just
people remember.
100%.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
People
I
remember
think,
faces.
Yeah, self-branding, personal branding is so important. And despite running a digital marketing agency, I think me and Luke and our team, we're so busy on trying to build our clients' brands, up until probably about a year ago, we really neglected our own. So I think one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast, of course, is for the content, but it's also to kind of educate and inspire anyone who's on a similar journey to us four sitting in this room right now. And it's like, I think you just said, Jake, we don't want to make this podcast about we've made it, we haven't. We're just trying to come across to like-minded individuals who might, benefit or learn or gain something from listening to what we go through day to day. And between the four of us, I think it's safe to say, like, half the time we're pulling our freaking hair out over various subjects and matters, right? I don't think it's spoken about enough in the kind of social media landscape about the day-to-day struggles. Like, everyone's posting content about, I made 100 grand this month and I worked 2 hours from a laptop in Bali. Like, don't get me wrong, one of the main reasons me and Luke got into marketing is because we were seeing these ads and we were like, oh mate, 100K a month working in Bali, 2 hours a week. And then we quickly learned, didn't it, Luke? It's not reality, especially at the start anyway. There's a lot of grind that goes into building what we have started to build over the last few years, right?
Exactly that. And I think we all listen to a lot of podcasts. There's so many podcasts out there now, but a lot of them are people that have already had a lot of success. And if they do talk about the struggles, it might be from 5, 10, even 20 years ago, and it's not as relatable. I'd rather hear, we might come to not just a problem we've overcome, but a problem we're going through right now. And, we could have guests on here who might help us solve these problems or say, yeah, I've had that before. This is what I did. And to listeners with a business themselves, it's inevitable they're going to be going through the same stuff. Like, business is business at the end of the day. A client came to me and the product hadn't come in. Like, what do I do? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a lot more relatable. And hopefully it gives people a lot of comfort to know that there's other people just all going through the exact same thing within business, and not all just wins and luxury cars and watches kind of thing that you see on Instagram.
I think there's like a lot of, I always think I'm so blessed to have like a business partner, Sam, and also a business partner, Jake, which was, Joe, I mean, you've also got business partners, right? So, but people are on their own as well. I think, well, how do you get through it? Because like you can explain that situation to people, like maybe your friends and family, but they're just not going to get it as much. So I feel like this will also help them just as much because they'll be able to listen to what problems we're going to. Viewers hopefully will be able to actually input their opinion at some point. So I do definitely think it'll bring a lot of people together. And talk about the struggles, also talk about the wins, like love the wins, but there is bad days and I'm here to talk about the bad days 100%, all for it.
100%. I think it's important as well that, people that don't have business partners, they share wins with other people, right? Because we're very lucky. Like, we're in business, we're all best pals, and, that's a massive luxury to have. But say, for example, somebody who might be a, lone wolf entrepreneur, and they are out there, most entrepreneurs are doing it by themselves. It's important they talk to people about their struggles, their successes, because entrepreneurship can be a very lonely journey. It's not for everyone, and not many people can relate necessarily to what us four go through, and the viewers listening to this podcast right now who might have businesses go through. So, talking about stuff so important, as I'm sure you'd agree. Like, we always have conversations within ourselves about what we go through, and it helps me personally. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
It helps, yeah.
We're entertained by it as well, because that's our interest.
Exactly.
Today.
We have a passion for that. But you guys, even more, like for me, obviously, so people know that my business is family run. So I set it up 3 years ago or 4 years ago with my dad. And then after a year, we brought my brother-in-law in. So we're now three-way partners. But it's good. And, my dad's got a lot of knowledge in the building, but he's not very business-minded. My brother-in-law is very good and organised and deals with clients and stuff. He was a project manager for some years before. So very on top of stuff like that. And then I'm kind of the entrepreneurial one. So the business setup works really well to deliver a good service to clients, but I still feel quite lonely in terms of the business entrepreneurial, like what you're saying. You guys are in an office with each other all the time. you three already had a business together. Obviously, we've always had like a chat and we're good friends and we speak. But for me, I'm kind of like that myself. In terms of the entrepreneurial way, kind of such, I just feel, on my own, it's quite tough sometimes because it's kind of like, I just want people to bounce off those sort of same mindset ideas as
Who would
myself.
you say would be, like, other than me, Jake and Luke in this room, who's your normal go-to person for you to actually talk about, what you're going through day to day?
Yeah, to be honest, there's only, obviously I do speak with...
To himself on his 12-minute voice notes.
To be honest, I speak to myself. Like, that's the thing, it is genuine. Like half of me, obviously I've got lots of friends and family and whatever, and I'm always speaking. The other half, and so there, I'm fine. The other half, not in a sad way at all, don't need to feel bad for me, but it's just proper, completely lonely, like on my own with my own thoughts. And I just think most people don't even want to hear what I'm saying because, do you know what I mean? They just get bored. But my good friend Elliot, who we go at the gym and in the spa, so he goes to the spa to relax and he's got me in his ear for like 2 hours every single time, just speaking business now. But he's good, like he always asks questions and he kind of gets it. And to be honest, just my mum, really. Yeah. So between Elliot and my mum, there is other people, but yeah, mainly just them two.
It's interesting, I think, talking to parents about, I guess it's a bit different for you because one of your business partners is your dad, right?
Yeah.
But before I went full-time with HW Media, as you guys know, but just so the viewers have some context, I set this business up with Luke in 2019 as a side hustle, got fired from my recruitment job.
You got fired?
Yeah, I got fired. No, I got fired
Told me we
because...
got left.
Yeah, so just basically my boss found out at the time that I had a side hustle. And I think in recruitment, it's kind of all or nothing. Like for you to be successful in recruitment or any sales role, it has to be your sole bread and butter, right? So yeah, got fired. It was like mid-pandemic. And the first person I called was my mum. And I said, Mum, I just got fired from my job. She's like, you're going to get another job? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I'm going to try HW Media, the marketing thing. I'm going to make it work full time. And at the time, I just moved out. I was renting a room in South Croydon, Purley at the time. And she was like, how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to pay your car payment? I just said, Mum, listen, I'm going to work it out. And honestly, I learned from that call. I love my mum to bits. If she's listening, you've been an absolute G. But sometimes it's better not to always talk about ideas with a generation. The podcast room's falling apart. It's not always a good idea to talk about ideas with a generation that don't necessarily understand the journey we're on.
Or they've got your best interests at heart. That's
100%.
They're just scared for you. Like
Because if it did fail, I would have been screwed. I wouldn't have been able to pay my rent. I'd have to move back in with Mumsy. But yeah, like sometimes I think making sure you're talking to people that understand your way of thinking is very important,
I had it like not that long ago, a few months back, we was at the pub and someone that I've been friends with for years, or a couple of people I was friends with, because a lot of people know I'm in business and I will speak business and investments and stuff like that, but I don't know what topic we were speaking, but I was speaking a lot more open at the table with a few of them, and one of them said like, Joe, you've changed or something, like Jesus, like, and not.
I've always been the same
my
way.
other mate, like Elliot, was opposite, and he's like, this, he's thinking this is what
he
I
obviously
hear.
didn't know you, innit?
Yeah, but to be honest, majority, I can count on one hand how many people I properly speak to about, because it's just, not to be rude, it's just lost on a lot of people, and they just shut down your ideas and they think it's not possible, and it's like you just end up getting too much negativity about a lot of stuff. And if you said to someone, I want to be worth X amount, you said plucking a number 50 million, they laugh at you like you're an idiot, but completely doable. You have a plan, you set up businesses, you invest, you have a good strategy and something that's scalable, and whatever else, you have a 20, 30, 40 year plan or even longer.
I think this is
Numbers
it,
are achievable,
about
like-
surrounding yourself with the right people.
Exactly.
Because happened to me the other day, so I was literally just having a meal with my mates, but they always talk to me about business. Everyone always talks to me about business just because I love business. Yeah. But half of me thinking in my head, I don't actually think they want to be talking about this. I just think they're talking about it because I like talking about it, and they're my mates and they like to see me talking about it, but they're not really that interested.
Yeah.
So
And I don't
Just
really
to listen,
yeah, it's good in some ways, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I don't want to become. See, if you're at like an extended family thing, or your intro when you're a bit older to whoever, someone where you don't know the whole crowd, and they come and they're trying to make conversation and start like, oh, business or something. Like, I don't want to be that.
It's the first thing that people ask you. Like the first thing someone asks normally is, what football team do you support? Like, that's how people break conversations. And it's even more relevant for me because I don't follow football or support football. So if someone's going to ask me a question, that's it. Just be based on business.
Do you ever find it awkward? So I personally find it quite awkward if you know, someone who bumps into me, I haven't seen them for a while. How's business? Right. So like I always get conscious about over talking about sometimes if things are going really well, how well they're going. So sometimes depending on who it is, I'll be like, yeah, it's going all right, mate. Like, you know, how's your thing going? So I don't want to come across as, I don't know if obnoxious is the right word or like we're bragging, but you know, it's good to talk about how well you're doing, but I'm quite conscious of that now where I'm quite selective with who I share certain wins and successes with. Like, do you guys ever find that as well?
I normally just have the same answer really for most people. I just say, oh yeah, it's not bad, thanks, and then
I'm just like, hectic,
how are you?
hectic.
Business good? Yeah, like quite busy, like, you know, it could be
just busy. That's the main word, isn't it?
Good.
Yeah. Literally chaos in it every day.
Yeah.
It's just chaotic.
But it's chaos for all of
Yeah.
us. Like, we never have,
it is,
we just don't have the time. I've been given a timesheet to do. I've got a mentor. I don't even think I told you. I've got a mentor.
Oh yeah, you said. Yeah.
How's that going?
Jinx. Yeah, really good. Really good. Yeah, had the first session, but yeah, it's just like having another person to talk to who's like just believes in you. Just like the first session was like 4 hours, and it was literally just talking about goals and like deep meaning, like why you actually want these things. Obviously, doing the standard, what cars, houses, watches, how you want your life to look, you know, with your partner and X, Y, Z. And yeah, like never batted an eyelid at anything. Like whatever I'd have said, he'd have been like, "Yep, no problem. Yeah, when do you want it?" It's just basically just like taking my order at McDonald's. Like he was literally just writing it down.
Does he have a travel business himself, or is he?
No, he doesn't. He runs a franchise himself, so he's qualified in that sense. But in the other sense, yeah, he's just been involved with businesses like in the past.
Would you say that so far it's helped you?
Oh, it's brilliant. No, it's been really good. Yeah. But that's only our first session. So yeah, just to see how the rest of the sessions go. But the first session was just setting out the roadmap of like what it's going to look like. He sent me some tools and some spreadsheets to fill in. Yeah. But that comes back to what I was saying. So I've got time spreadsheet. So it starts at like 6 a.m. and finishes at like 10 p.m, and you've got to write down what you're doing every half an hour, because he's like, people say they don't have enough time, but really you need to put in what you're actually doing during those hours. So I'd be interested. I've only just started it this week, so it's interesting to see at the end of this week what it's doing. But most of it is making bookings and quoting people and making bookings and quoting people and doing admin and calling airlines. So that's literally all it's made up of at the minute.
But when he can fully see that, he can probably say, listen, you need to delegate this area like that. It's a waste of you spent 5 hours doing like admin, what are you doing kind of thing. Like, and it might take that for you to then just realise and think, I did know this, but seriously now I'm going to take action. And then it's going to help your business. That's the thing with when I had my mentor, I'm going back to him in next month. A lot of the stuff, it's not necessarily that you didn't know it, but
it's accountability,
Exactly, it's accountability, and he's just affirming what you believe. You know, sometimes it's a split road. I'm like, is this the right option? Should I be spending my time and energy here, money here? When you then have someone that's experienced and worked with a lot of businesses saying, this is good.
I think it's, sorry to cut you off there, Joe, I didn't mean to, but I think it's really important to invest in mentorships, right? Because one of, I'd say, the disadvantages for me personally, maybe you guys, is as an entrepreneurial co-founder of a business, if you're stuck, sometimes you don't know the answer, right? And you don't really have anyone to go to get help on certain questions. Whereas with a mentor, they've got more experience with you and they can guide you. That's what I kind of miss about working in a sales environment. Like if you're stuck on how to close a prospect, you can go to your sales director or your manager and you'll be like, have you tried this angle? But when you run a business and you've got staff, we've got a team of 8 now, they come to you with questions that you might not actually know the answer to. It probably happens to me once or twice a day.
The mentor becomes your manager. That's basically what it is.
I literally get asked all the time, like people come to me with like business ideas and they want to start a business. And one bit of advice I always tell them is get a mentor. Even if you're running your business 3 or 4 years and you haven't got one, go and get one, because we've always done it. Like me and Sam, as soon as we start the marketing, like it was during COVID that we started, right?
Yeah, I think it was just before.
We started just before, but then as we were getting a bit more passionate about it, we bought a mentor during, It was during COVID when we actually bought the mentor, and that was like, I spent like 3 or 4 grand on it. And it was at the riskiest time, and that helped us so much. And then as soon as we started our rent-to-rent business, first thing we did is got a mentor, because these people know more than you. Like they literally have so much experience that they can just tell you. And and it's not in a course. I'm not talking about a course either. Like these people, you can just ask them questions and they'll tell you straight up now. You can WhatsApp them, message them all the time. Doesn't matter what you're in, whether it's clothing, building, travel. Like if you get someone like that, hold you accountable. It helps so much. I can't explain it.
You'd probably agree as well, Lou. So we've been I think we've been fortunate, right? Because you hear horror stories about people scamming with mentorships, but every mentorship we've invested in for HW Media, our marketing company, and the mentorship we invested in for WHW Property as well, Jake, have all been so useful. Like we've learned something from every single mentorship we've had. And I think there's a psychological thing in your mind where if you spend 5 bags on a mentorship, you feel like you just got to make it back, right? So you're invested into the course. And this is why I don't believe in people lending books to other people. My old manager used to say this to me. If you lend, say you want to read the law of attraction, you don't have the law of attraction. If I lend that book to you, you haven't personally invested in that knowledge. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think like it comes down to you have to front money to really have skin in the game to want it and get to that next level.
I've seen this firsthand because when I've had courses like the drop shipping course, when we're doing that for a bit, like I got the course and then I gave it to people for free who were interested. Yeah. And funny enough, like I was probably the one that did the best, but I invested the money, so I spent as much time in it. Whereas the people got it for free, they had no skin in the game, so they weren't even using it properly. Yeah. So,
but what it is, it's our mindsets as well, though, because obviously I offered with my old personal shopping business. After that, I've mentored quite a few people, and what you're talking about, you're hearing about a lot of scams. Obviously, yeah, there probably is some straight up scams out there, I'm sure, but you can give 2 people the exact same experience, and I've got one person that's out making 6 figures a year now. I don't really mentor him now, but I helped him back before, and he's making 6 figures. And I've had someone else say, "Oh, this doesn't work. This is a scam." Blah blah blah. And it's like you've had the exact same thing. You've had the exact same opportunity, exact same contacts. One of you took action, and one of you didn't. It's like all of us, like if we have a mentor, chances are they're going to do a lot of good for us. Yeah. For example, the mentor I've got, some of the sessions have been just me, but some's with my brother-in-law, Jake, some's with my dad and even my mum. For example, my dad's the first person to admit, but we've all sat in the same conversation, but it's no use really to my dad because he's like, I'm not interested.
You're not going to implement it at all.
Exactly. So it's like, my dad wouldn't walk out and say, "Oh, this is a scam," but we were paying, if you look at an hourly rate, a lot an hour, £500 plus VAT an hour. I think, or for 2 hours. So my dad would probably walk out. He understands it, so I'm using him as an example, but he does understand why we're doing it and it's helping me to grow the business, etc. But as an example, my dad could walk out and say, 500 quid, what am I paying the guy £500 for?
I think the initial fall is...
For me, I'm like, this is brilliant. Like, this is genius because, he can save me so much money in the long run or make me money or give me a different perspective on something that could make me millions of pounds in the future. That's how I think.
It's invaluable. Like I've honestly never invested in a mentor and not learned something from it.
If I did 1 year, let's say it cost me 10 grand over a year, and I just took one thing from that I implement for the rest of my life. If you're trying to run successful businesses like that, could literally equate to millions of pounds. So it's just invaluable. And let's say over a course of however long you have 5 to 10 mentors in different areas and you've tried a couple, that investment is going to pay off if you're out there trying to do business, trying to do better, trying to implement new systems and processes. It's going to pay off massively.
It's the 2 mindsets, right? So like my mindset is if I've ever invested in something bad, I go to work the next day and I'm like, I need to make 5 grand. I need to do 5 grand worth of sales to make back for that course. Whereas I think the polar opposite mindset is, oh, okay, I've just invested 5 grand in a mentorship. There was some good context there, but I didn't really like it that much. So I'm going to call it a scam, right? Because I think it completely depends. I keep moving this microphone in front of the green screen. Yeah, I think it depends how you look at it.
I literally went to a networking event on Saturday, and the founder of the networking event, he runs an Amazon FBA course, and I met people that had done his course, and I met 2 people, and one of them said, you know what, to be honest with you, it's not all that. Like I wouldn't do the mentorship. Yeah. Like it was like a lot of work, lost a little bit of money as well. And then literally 5 minutes later, I met this guy who'd quit his job from the mentorship and had been doing it for 18 months. And the difference from speaking to both of them was one of them put the work in and the other didn't. You can't get a mentorship, right, and expect all the work to be done for you. You're getting a mentorship because they're teaching you how to do it. But some people get a mentorship and then think, it's going to be easy.
Exactly. And I'll pay and now I'm going to be a millionaire.
The initial thought process, when you're sitting in those rooms, I've sat in those rooms like a few times, and the networking and they're doing a talk about something, because the initial kind of place that you meet mentors really is in those kind of events. Networking really, or doing some sort of conference about something, and you've got someone standing at the front and you just think you automatically, I'm trying to be sold to, someone's trying to sell me something here, it's a scam, that's like, I think, the initial thought process behind it. But I think you just got to do your research. So obviously when we done a course for the rent to rent, like I'd sat in loads of rooms before and had a look at the courses and seen that there's people doing it and like successful people that are doing it, that are selling their courses. Yeah. But I'm sitting there thinking, I'm here, I've got a cheap ticket to come here, but do you know what? Like, it just feels like you're trying to be sold to, like you just don't trust it.
I think something great as well is 2 of the mentorships we've had, one with Aaron Branch, really cool entrepreneur, one of the first marketing courses we've done. I can still message him whenever if I've got a question, because, you know, there's that relationship there. Same as Corin for the rent-to-rent business. Course by Peachy Jackson High Boutique. I was literally in Manchester with him 2 weeks ago, you know, catching up, having some dinner, staying in his apartments, right? So it really is what you make it, in my opinion. Has anyone ever invested in like a bad mentor? Has anyone ever had a bad experience with him?
I've only literally invested in this first mentor that I'm having now. So
maybe trading. But
yeah.
again, I don't know whether that was me or whether that was the mentor. It's probably me.
Yeah, I think,
to be fair.
I'm the same actually. Yeah, it was me.
Yeah,
I got that for my birthday present as well.
What? Trading?
Forex trading course, and I just didn't really
I don't think,
commit to it enough. Yeah. You need to commit for 18 months, 24 months.
That's the only one I'd say.
Do you know why you 2 are G's? Because you both just took accountability, saying it was your fault, it wasn't the course. That's the polar opposite of mindset, right? You're taking accountability. Yeah. I remember my old mentor always told me there's 3 values you got to abide by. It's I am always responsible, I always pay, and I always have to go to the next level, or something like that for the 3rd value. And I try and live by them. It's helped me so much.
100%. Like, it's with everything, and I try to stay I'm always positive and I'm always optimistic, but I noticed it, when was it? It was the other week. I was thinking about why I've got so angry with myself on the way we was going out for a meal, because I was saying I was cold and I was like, I should be able to just fly to Dubai right now, and I was just getting so angry with myself. And then it's like, I was like, it's fully my fault. I was like, it's entirely my fault. There is no reason in the world, no one has ever told me or tried to stop me why I don't have the access to, obviously I could, but to just go to Dubai and it'd be fine. My business is taken care of. I've got millions in the bank. Like, it's entirely my fault that I'm not in that position. But I get so worked up by it because I'm like, I need to be doing better because I've got the capability, got the potential. Like, why am I not already there?
I think that's just instant gratification, though, isn't it? Yeah, like that's how everyone is these days.
Yeah, because like my girlfriend and stuff was just thinking like I'm just getting annoyed like at people and stuff. I was like, it's my fault. I was like, it's entirely my fault. But
that's so powerful.
I need to be working harder. Like, I need to be coming up with better ideas. I need to be doing more, because that's just how I am.
That mindset right there that you've adopted, Joe, and I think it's the same for you, Jake, and you, Luke. We've all got sick mindsets in here. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the UK, especially in London, it's like people get jealous of other people's success. It's so common. Like, they might see someone living their best life on the gram and they get really resentful of that. Whenever I've seen anyone doing well, before I was even doing semi-okay for myself, I was always inspired by it. I never got jealous. I never started hating.
Yeah, I'm never like that, ever. I'm always like, I get excited. Like, if I see someone start a business, I'm not being nosy or anything.
Yeah,
I always make sure I get
so excited.
I start thinking
curious.
instantly, I'm like, have I got any contacts for him? Have I got any advice for him? Have I got any, what can I do to help this person?
Yeah.
Even if we've never really even spoke that much before, just get excited by it. Genuinely, I love seeing other people succeed. On the flip side, I know you get loads of haters, even in the local area. You could probably name
this is one reason why we were scared to start the podcast. Not scared, I wouldn't say scared. But people are gonna hate about it.
There is going to be people watching like, who the fuck do these boys think they are?
100%. Someone right now is thinking it.
I think that's what I made it clear, though. It's like the reason behind why we're doing it.
The reasons are not because we're saying we've completely made it and we've all gone clear. Like, we've all done well up until now. We've all got good businesses. But we've got a long way to go because we've got such high targets, all of us, and that's a good thing, There's nothing wrong with that. And obviously, the name of the podcast, the Multipliers Club, is the same thing, networking and speaking and getting out to an audience and connecting with like-minded individuals. There's a famous quote from Einstein. I think it's something along the lines of the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. It's kind of the same effect, the Multipliers Club with us is in everything, with not just financially, but the more people you meet and the more businesses, the more people you connect with.
And the great thing about networking is the people that you meet end up trying to vouch for you as well.
Exactly.
If I was like, Jake will be in a room with someone to do with, and they need something to do with marketing, and then suddenly he's networking
selling your brand.
And it's so much better when someone else does it for you. Like I'm not someone who likes talking about myself. So
it's such a it's an authentic way. Otherwise people think it's sort of like how we obviously met. We're going to how we all met really. I think so. Myself and Jake met through a friend that I used to work with, and just we was being out and we got on well, and we was both like-minded people, so connected quite well there, and always be at the pub and whatever else. But myself and Luke can't remember. You explain, sorry, you remember, but we got introduced. I remember, a bit of a blind date.
I was at work actually. I was at work. I was working at Metrobank as a manager. I got a call from this guy, Joey Todd, and he was asking, and he was like, "I'm starting an event."
Did I just call you up?
Yeah, I think Ben Pete, one of our friends, he put us in touch, and you called me and and said you want to start a new event, and I was running an event at the time.
That was it.
So you asked me loads of these questions. I was thinking, right, you're quite brazen, to be fair. I don't even know you. I've never met you. I don't know who you are, and you're asking me all these questions. But I happily answered them because that's what I'm all for helping people. So I thought, I rate this. You know what? I wish I was confident enough to do that myself, because I wasn't at the time, especially.
I'm like that. I'm straight to the point. But if I want to ask you questions, you're either going to be a dickhead and not tell me, or you're going to help me, and I'll always remember it and try and help you down the line.
Yeah, so then we arranged to meet up in just at our pub just for a quick drink. I remember you parked outside, and we just got on instantly, just talking about business. We were talking about the events, we were talking about loads of different things, kind of so many different subjects, like going from one thing to another, but it was hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I don't even think we actually had another drink. We only had one drink, but we just didn't even want to go to the bar because we didn't want to stop the conversation because it was just flowing so much.
We both pulled up our notes on our phone. We had the same thing of like a list of about 50 side hustles. And we had a business plan for everyone. We're like, you could do this at a festival, and you could be, whatever, selling these portable chargers and then this and that. And we just had so many, Luke's done loads of side hustles. The guys sold Christmas trees and sledges and whatever else.
PlayStation 3s.
Yeah, so it's...
So everyone's like-minded like that.
And it's literally a friend, as we said, someone we're both friends with, just for these two. He probably had enough of us both absolutely peppering him with just business ideas. And he was like, you know what, I'm just going to put you in touch. And then, here we are now.
But this is
so funny because Luke came into the office the next day and he was like, Sam, I just met Joe Todd, and I swear to God, we were finishing each other's sentences, bro. It was like some mad bromance. And then I was buzzing because I didn't meet you at this point, Joe. I think it was about 4 years ago. Yeah. And then Luke was telling me how like-minded you were to me and Luke and Jake. So I was like, I have to meet this guy. And Joe, I don't even know if you remember this. The first time you came to the office, it's back when we had that first really kind of starting point office with cardboard boxes everywhere and stuff. And you said to me that you went into your office and you mapped out a £1 billion business plan. And then you spoke to all of your staff about it. And they were looking at you that's crazy.
You're crazy.
But then you broke down the barriers. I remember you spoke to me about the £1 billion business plan. And I was just like, this guy is a freaking G. Yeah. Whoever maps out $1 million, cool. But $1 billion, you're thinking
next level,
Thinking big.
The main difference the thing is, I'm my brain works differently, and I'm quite a logical thinker. And I look at things, I think, what's the odds and the chances of this? And I like to break down to see numbers and how it could actually look like. So take $1 billion, you say, most people just think $1 billion. Well, that's just billion, that's miles away. Or you might have heard the fact of whatever, 1 million seconds is 11 days and 1 billion's 32 years or something like that. And you just think that's impossible. But how could you go from 100 million, let's say you could get to 10 million or 100 million? I'm not saying that's easy, but, a little bit more in touch if you're business minded and you invest and whatever, and you use some leverage, and then you just have to start talking in percentages. And what's a good way to increase that compound interest is back to Einstein and the Multipliers Club, the eighth wonder of the world. If you actually then look at compound interest and you look at percentages and you think, all right, so how many years from hitting this point would it take? How much would I have to scale up? you start breaking it down and thinking of, ideas and certain industries and systems you could put in place and how, all right, so maybe for me to get there, but we've had 100 people working for me all towards that goal and, things like that. And you start breaking stuff down and it's not as, I'm not saying it's easy because we all know day in, day out, running businesses and investing is flipping hard, but you can actually start to see a path of how to do it. And once you've seen that path, every decision you're making along the way, you might change, but that's why it's important to come back to your goals, come back to your plan, come back to your targets, etc. But you might veer off and then you realign yourself and you've learned, in the last 6 months, or mentors just shortcutted another 5 years in your path, and all of a sudden you start moving there and 10, 15 years of that, and, you start seriously seeing the end goal. So 100%. Don't scare me. The big numbers don't scare me at all.
I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Jim Rohn. Do you guys know about Jim Rohn?
Yeah.
Such a sick life coach, man. I think he's dead now. Rest in peace. But oh my God, like his personal development for me was just mind-blowingly amazing. Helped me so much. And I'm pretty sure he said, become a millionaire because not of the money, but because of the person you have to become to get that £1 million. And don't get me wrong, none of us are millionaires yet, right? But even if you think about 0 to 10 grand a month in business, like that, I remember when we first hit 10 grand a month, me and Luke were like, oh my God, this is sick. At the time, we only had 1 employee. So we went out to some plush restaurant in London, spent bare money. And now, like 2 years later, 10 grand a month don't even pay our wage bill.
Yeah, exactly. I remember it's the same with the jobs. I remember landing the first, what would be a big job, let's say a 50K job or something before we was buzzing. Hand on a building job. I was like, yes, get in. Now we're kind of having to, now we have to weigh up. We don't really, I don't want to say we don't want those jobs, but we have to be a bit careful what we take on because those jobs can be too much stress for us when we can land, a few 100K jobs. So it's
the same in
it's a good position to be in, but
What would you say in a building trade, for example? Because I could imagine the overheads must be quite high with materials, right?
Yeah, obviously the majority of the cost goes in the actual the materials and the labour sort of thing. So profit margins in this industry aren't great. So
what would you say is like an average profit margin in the construction industry?
Industry standards are 20%, and then obviously you have to, if you run jobs well, you're a high-end company and you sell yourselves well, obviously that can go up. If you don't run well, it can very quickly go down and jobs can overrun and whatever else. But
you start losing money by the day then, I suppose.
Very quickly, very quickly.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if you're paying someone, let's say I quoted, as an example, £1,000 to build this wall. And for some reason, there was a hold up here and there's a hold up there, blah, blah, blah. It costs double the time, £2,000. That happens all the time, things like that, throughout a large job. If I'm paying someone £200 a day and I'm only making 20% on them, I make 40 quid a day profit. I'm at minus £1,000 because of the wall, and they make me £40 a day. How long does it take me to just make back that loss? In the meantime, something else bad's happened. You know what I mean? So it's a very hard business to do well, but obviously over time, we've learned and we've grown and we do a good job, and we've got very experienced guys, and so we're okay. Managed to, touch wood, keep going and doing all right, and keep growing at a very good rate. But we don't like to grow too big, and otherwise the standard could start to slip and whatever else. I had that before. When I got to a certain number of guys, I think we had 20 guys in a day working for us, but then it was all a bit hectic and the standards sort of started to slip slightly, so scaled right back down, and now we're getting back up to that again, but with a very good team.
Funny enough, that's kind of what happened with me and Sam at one point, where we took on too many clients at this one time, and we saw the money coming in, which was good. We were looking at the money. And we're not afraid to work hard, but it was just chaos. It was chaos.
Absolute chaos.
Yeah. When the standard starts to slip, or the culture you're implementing in your business doesn't get, still met throughout and stuff like that, then your business, in the long run, your business is going to suffer massively. So you've got to scale up in line with what you can.
Hey, it's so true. One of the good things about a digital marketing agency or SMMA, it's a cash flow business. Predominantly, the overheads are quite low. You know, you've got your staff to pay, you've got office rent. Some agencies doing 100K a month don't even have an office. Some of the biggest agencies in the UK are fully remote, right? But I think the biggest issue is the delivery if you do not have the systems in place. So me and Luke have invested in, I think it's 4 new staff members in the last 2 months. So our profit as a business is less than it's ever been. In fact, I'm pretty sure in January we ran out a very small loss, and that's okay, right?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah,
I was part of it, 100%.
Yeah.
But now I feel like our customer service is getting better. We've got an account manager to respond to all of our clients' inquiries, etc. And we know that we have to invest to get to that next level.
Exactly that.
So, you know, it's a journey.
I think that's where we're all at pretty much in the same sort of stages. That's quite cool to be fair.
Because I literally yesterday I was sat down with who we're going to have as like our assistant PM sort of role, project manager role, where he's going to help take a bit of stress and workload off of myself and Jake and be able to start dealing with some of the site managers and the clients and getting involved with, you know, trying to supply items and thinking of new ways we can really push the business and the profits more so without having to necessarily, without the client having to spend more money, if anything, spending less, because we can maybe offer them a discount with supply items whilst we still make more profit. It's a win-win situation for everyone. It's just about getting these systems and processes in place and having someone to do so. But in the first few months, while you're trying to implement them and teach them and show them ways, of course, you might end up, that's kind of the investment you have to give. He might not be paying his way for the first 3, 4, 5 months, but the longer picture is hopefully it's going to pay you back.
What is it that you're working on at the moment? You're trying to, you talked about this before previously,
What's
but
that,
trying to do, you want to actually do a lot of the supplying, which...
Yeah, so we've been missing a big trick, and I've known it, but it's hard to, we're doing 101 things anyway, and it's hard then, we need to give a real good service if we're doing it. So like with the bathrooms, the kitchens, the flooring, we do sometimes, we intro them to places that we use and stuff like that, but I want to be the supplier who comes to us. We've got our brochures and we know about all the, you know, the...
It's kind of like affiliate marketing.
No, it'd just be direct working with, we've got suppliers we can go to and like bespoke kitchens and
so you don't
kitchens
refer, it's not
bathrooms.
referral.
No, so that's what I'm trying to not have really.
Okay.
I will sometimes, and you might make a little 10% here or they recommend you here, but I want it to, because we're kind of a full design and build, full design and build company that we've rebranded to now. I want to just be trying to deal with all the supply items because I know we can get, because we're dealing on a large scale and in the industry, we'll be able to get hopefully good discounts ourselves where we can still, you know, give the client some discount. So it works for them. People come to us on the building because we're sort of a one-stop shop and we take care of everything. But when they're then having to go and, you know, pick out tiles and stuff like that, it's like, well, then we're not really truly a one-stop shop. So I'm trying to get it so we completely are, and it's a good service throughout the business, including the supply items and stuff. And then, it's going to increase our profits. And
So you think this new hire that you're going to make, that they're going to play like a big part in that?
yeah, I think so, yeah. And I think where I've not been doing it, obviously I need to be implementing certain systems in place along the way. And it's going to be a bit of trial and error in a few places. And so it's kind of like a whole nother business. You know, if you're supplying lots of jobs all at once. And
that's the thing when you're an entrepreneur, that's it. You're thinking of
you need to think of
the next biggest thing.
Exactly. But it's good if you can try and channel it all into one business. I'm not saying don't have multiple businesses, but, you know, within your business, other avenues like that, like the supplying and like whatever.
This is
else.
obviously another business for us now. I mean,
Exactly, the podcast.
The podcast, obviously, the reason for it, you know, the podcasting, then you can get it across all platforms, podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Gonna be
Facebook,
TikTok famous.
That's it.
Be Real. Have you guys heard about this Be Real social media?
Yeah. I've seen it. I don't have it, but I don't think that's really currently that suited to like businesses. It's just a once a day.
Could be, but you think you thought about TikTok when they're throwing up dances on there?
Yeah,
like,
but you know,
that's
you
the
can only
crazy
post.
thing
You only can post once a day a picture of what you're currently doing.
With Be Real, it's quite
Be Real.
strange. So they, I don't really understand it. I had a 16-year-old trying to explain it to me the other day. You know, Instagram's very posy. It's always about showing people the best life, but Be Real is all about, it's be real, bro. You know, like what you really
Can't delete the photos, can you?
I don't think
After
you
they
can delete
post
the
it
photo.
or something.
And a lot of people post with like no makeup or them putting on a little bit of weight or something. But the maddest thing about social media is it's always changing. Like when we first got into digital marketing, we weren't even an ads agency. Up until like 2018, you didn't even really have to run ads on Facebook and Instagram.
Really? I thought it was...
There's always been paid
could,
ads and they've been good. But I think it was up until 2016, in fact. If you posted,
back office.
Yeah, if you posted on Instagram before 2016, if someone follows you and they scroll far enough down the homepage, they're going to see your post because it was in chronological order, right? Yeah. But now with the new algorithms, you might make a post, but it's only going to be shown to between sort of 4, maybe 6, 10% at the most, people that even follow you. So Facebook and Instagram's really become a pay-to-play platform, me and Luke call it. Whereas with TikTok, like they're just giving out reach for freaking fun.
Yeah,
like,
massively.
You can post a TikTok on TikTok and you could get a million views with no ad budget. Like Luke,
and you can have no followers. You can have 0 followers.
Like how much
zero
would it
followers.
cost to get a million views on Facebook? Probably like 20, 30 grand or something crazy like that.
Really?
So who knows? Maybe we'll all be on Be Real in a couple of years.
Well, apparently, I can't remember what it's called. I need to have a look into it. But apparently, TikTok's been invested in like a new social media platform. I think it might be called Lemon something, but I might have completely made that up. But yeah, apparently they're investing, so I need to have a look.
One to watch. You've always got to look out for the latest
on there.
To be fair, there's a lot that come and go. Like.
Yeah,
definitely. TikTok's definitely not going anywhere for now. Video is the thing. This is why we're doing this, so get some video clips for this.
The algorithm's insane on TikTok. Well, let's big them up so when we post, hopefully they just...
Give us some reach.
Yeah. But literally, you can post stuff that you can post. So if you post every day, it kind of hits different audiences.
Yeah.
And if you're just consistent with it, you can literally go viral. And the videos that go viral, some of them are literally, they're not really even thought of too hard. No, they're just quite random. You just got to kind of put yourself out there.
That's kind of the best thing about it, I think.
I do struggle with TikTok because I talk to Luke about this all the time, but when I'm making a TikTok, like I just feel so unproductive because the stuff that works on TikTok is kind of cool, silly, stupid type of comedy sketch or whatever. But I guess like one TikTok going viral could revolutionize your whole social media.
Yeah.
Do you reckon it changes your brand? Like, have you spoken to anybody who runs a business where one of their videos has gone viral and that means that they've got X amount of new customers? Or is it just that video...
I've heard about it selling out stock, like people they're selling out.
I suppose if it's product,
if it's product,
Yeah, if it's product. What about service-based?
I've seen it gain a lot of followers, which I mean...
Like you're service-based, I'm service-based.
I've known
semi-service-based.
Someone in the building industry, I can't remember what it's called. He's like a plastering thing. But he's massive on... Well, I've seen a few of them actually, quite big on TikTok. And I remember him doing a screen recording. He said, like, message me for an estimate in this area if you want a job done within London or whatever. I'm not kidding. The amount of DMs he had for work was insane.
Really?
Like, insane. Just job. Like, he was just, where you scroll.
But why? What caused that to happen?
Was that from TikTok?
Yeah, no, because, like, he's blown up on TikTok. Not necessarily one video. Like,
oh, is it because he's a plasterer and he does, like...
Yeah, and he does all building jobs now. But I can't remember what his name is. I think it's like SQ something. But, I saw his thing and I thought, fair play. Like, and the good thing is I'm going to now, with the building... With the whole rebrand, I'm going to get on TikTok and probably even YouTube.
I think your stuff's quite TikTokable as well. Like, time lapses of a kitchen that used to look really bad to now being absolutely stunning in fast motion.
It is, but when you think that of a 6-month project...
Oh, you'd be there all day.
Day one, the knockout looks quite cool. Or, first few days where you're knocking out walls and you're doing this and that looks pleasing to some people. And then for the next 5 months, it just looks like a building site until like the very last month. It all starts coming together and it's like, this looks great. Like, but do you know what I mean? It's kind of the 5 months.
It'll take you 5 months to get the content, but you've only got to take like 3 or 4 pictures.
Yeah, true. I've been terrible up until now with...
it's getting your staff to do it as well, isn't it? Like,
exactly, because I'm not
so hard to
on
do
site.
it.
Again, that's something I was speaking about with the assistant PM. Yesterday I said, like, when you're going round, you can be just... I'm going to buy you a camera and use your phone for time lapse and just try and get content. We're just going to TikTok the life out of it all. I think Instagram we still keep kind of as to showcase our work and the nicer images and before and after and stuff like that. But TikTok
still post everything you post on TikTok. If it does well, or even if it doesn't do, you can also put it on Instagram.
Yeah. But I'll also on
Reels.
TikTok, I'll
Yeah.
probably start doing myself and walkthroughs and updates and, you know, that sort of thing.
I think that'll work well, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do
With
you know what I
you
think
walking
could really bang in the construction side? And let's have it right. Like a lot of construction businesses are not tech savvy at all,
No.
right? So you could do like builders banter behind the scenes. Like all builders have good on-site
They have
banter
that
and
on the
stuff, right?
tools brand, didn't it? Have you seen
Oh
that?
yeah, that's quality.
That's similar things. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that didn't even come to mind at the time, but exactly like on the tools, but trying to make it a little bit unique and individual. At the same time, I reckon it could bang, do really well. It's just about the consistency and the time of creating the TikToks, right? That's the hardest bit.
Yeah, it is, but it is the world we live in now, and it's important. And anyone putting out a lot of content over a period of time, that's someone that's happy to review the content, see what worked, what didn't, and then move forward with trying to improve. And over a period of time, stays consistent. We've seen time and time and time again, you will do well, and you will bring in business, and it will create opportunities for you. So it's important to do it for any business or brand now.
We've got to stick to the podcast and
Exactly.
obviously
Consistency
that's-
and accountability.
Yeah, we've got 4 of us to hold each other accountable.
Exactly
That's
that.
it. You don't want to
So-
let anyone else down. That's the part of the mentorship as well.
Yeah. So on that, what if before we wrap this episode up, what's like one thing everyone's excited over the next 12 months with the podcast? What do you think it could bring us, or what's a goal, or what are you excited about?
I think like in terms of a group, spending more time with obviously 3 of my best pals is just sick whilst
Yeah.
building a brand as well. But I think in terms of development, it's the networking side. It's the, you know, if one person can watch one of our episodes and learn something that helped them, then in my eyes, it's a success. You know, I think I speak for all of us. Like we didn't start this to make money. You know, this is just purely about experience, networking. And for me, it's more about me growing as a person. Because I was really, really scared to do a podcast. I'm not actually ashamed to admit it. So for me, it's quite a big step to just put yourself out there more. That's for me personally. What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I think obviously pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, that's obviously number one, you know. And then I think as we kind of progress and we get better at what we do, then you're kind of getting more comfortable. So it's kind of like, even like with our jobs and stuff, as you start doing better and better, you need that next new thing that's actually going to make you feel, shit, this is scary. Like, so exactly. That's how you grow. And yeah, just personal branding. Like we've seen how big it is.
Yeah.
And how important it is to have a personal brand, definitely, in this day and age for business and just for yourself, just be able to grow. How about you, Luke?
Yeah, I think mainly obviously networking together, spending more time together for sure, because we always talk business. Now other people are going to have to jump in that conversation as well along the line. We've already got lined up some really cool people we could speak to that otherwise, if we weren't doing this, probably wouldn't be in the same room as that person. It'd be hard to do.
The upcoming guests that the next few episodes we're going to have.
Yeah, I think obviously it makes us put us out there more for sure. Doing videos, there's going to be loads of videos already made for us. I think that'll probably give myself confidence doing videos outside of the podcast as well. Hopefully, I think probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Joe making us do this, right?
Yeah, thank you,
Shout out to you, John. Round of applause for John.
Sam tried to bail already.
Yeah, he did try to bail.
Before he tried to bail already, but he was thinking the same thing as everyone else. Like he was a bit shook to do this. Like I'm shook to do this 100%. I feel like now we're coming to the end of our first one. Like once we got into it, it was much easier now to start, I reckon. And I feel like that will get other people involved in it as well. One thing earlier I was thinking as well was that we've actually got a mentor for the podcast. We didn't talk about that. We haven't just not just sat in a random room anywhere in there.
Decided to start a podcast.
We actually we thought we want to do a podcast and we wanted to give it our best attempt from the start. To do that, we're not experts. We actually went to the marketing conference and the whole talk was about how you can start your own podcast. They even gave us a free course on how to start your own podcast. Yeah. But we all sat there and said, we want to start a podcast, but we don't have time to do that. I don't have time to sit there and watch this course. I'd rather pay someone and it'll be much better. And that's what we've done. Exactly. And it'll be really good. At one of our episodes that our mentor for this will actually be able to speak to him. And
Exactly.
100%,
He's coming on, well, it should be on the next episode. So make sure you check that one out. And we'll give the full story. His story is a great entrepreneur. He's launched 165 podcasts around the world that have done very well. So we'll leave that there for this episode. And join us for the next one.
Cheers, everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed listening.